Our next speaker uses design research principles with the craft of qualitative and quantitative research to guide product teams. The head of insights at Spotify. Let us welcome Vidisha Hegde.
Hi everyone. I actually thought I'd do a cool entry song, Mamma Mia, because it's going to be my choice. It's fun. It's Swedish. Spotify is Swedish. I'm a mama. As you can see from my library, I don't know if you guys can make out, but there's a lot of kids' podcasts and song playlists over there. But that actually drove me down this rabbit hole, and I'll take another minute on this, on discovering a ton of other really popular musicians who I didn't know were Swedish. Besides Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, and of course ABBA, Ace of Base, The Cardigans, Roxette. Yeah, my stint at Spotify has really helped me move beyond Baby Shark. Anyway, before I digress, I could not be more thrilled to be here at DesignUp 2024 after attending their first one in 2016 and multiple other editions over the years. I'm the Insights lead for Spotify India, Middle East, and Africa, which means that I'm juggling 3 roles: user research, data science, and business intelligence as well, to just bring in all the context and to really get to the bottom of why someone can't get enough of a track or why they skip it altogether. So I grew up in Bombay, and now I stay in Bangalore. I've been here for the last 10 years. I come from a traditional engineering plus MBA background, and most of my experience was in the business strategy in business strategy roles. My journey into the world of insights and analytics and design research has been a lot more recent. Over the last 8 years now, I've had stints with Swiggy, before Spotify as well. And if you're attending the panel on designing resilient careers later in the day, you'll understand how roller coaster-ish that journey was. So cool. Moving on, I'm here to tell you guys about making music from noise. Given my lack of design talent, I actually chose this from the most recent Spotify design kind of pack, which they launched just a few months ago. You can actually see it on spotifywall.com for those of you who are interested. I thought this was the most relevant image to use, if you can notice the small mushrooms in the head, to really kind of talk about how we can use, how do we kind of make sense of all those noisy signals out there and really bring them all together into strategies at Spotify. Cool. Just a minute. So just before we start speaking about Spotify, India is one of the largest music streaming markets in the world. It has around 150 million active users, estimated, with platforms like Spotify, YouTube, JioSaavn, Apple Music, a bunch of them leading the charge. No other country in the world has the complexity of language and genre that India faces. And I'm going to talk a little more about India today and kind of leave the other regions aside. Like I said, the complexity of genres, the complexity of language makes personalization and those recommendations so much more difficult to kind of deal with to ensure that our users are having that perfect experience. Now, Spotify has been in India for just 5 years. We were actually, we had a lot of incumbents when we entered the market. We launched in 2019, and it's been a journey since then of building for the diverse audiences in India. When we started off, I remember our split of international music to local music was actually 70%. And over the years, we've kind of flipped that. And now it's over 70% from regional local music is what the users kind of seem to prefer. So now, the power of insights. At Spotify, we put the users at the heart of everything we do. We actually have a 600+ insights function, which is a fair representation of the larger kind of 7,000, 8,000 strong org. Most of our initiatives are a result of using a combination of user research, market data, and in-app data analytics mapped to particular problem statements. Playlists are one example. This is how Discover Weekly, Your Time Capsule, a lot of these kind of come out from that insights engine of looking at all these various sources. But it's not just content strategy or music or product strategy alone. We also use insights for marketing, for growth, and again, a very multidisciplinary approach to that as well. Okay, so before we kind of get into a few examples of these insights that led to particular product strategies at Spotify, just a few questions. I love my trivia. Okay, so this is for the audience. What do you think is the language that grew the most on Spotify India last year? Any guesses? I can hear Tamil, I can hear Telugu. Okay, we have 2 out of 4, so I'm going to stop there and give you the answer. Is neither of those, it is actually Malayalam. Yeah, so Malayalam is really kind of clearly a lot of Malayalis in the crowd. So I mean, there've been a bunch of blockbuster movie hits. It's really kind of doing well from the independent artist music scene as well. So you kind of see that in consumption as well, not just in Kerala, but across India. Okay, question number 2. I just have 2 more. Who is India's biggest artist export? That means to other countries besides India, which artists are they listening to? I can hear Anirudh, clearly a lot of Tamilians in the crowd as well. Okay, yeah, so a bunch of you guys are getting it right. It is Arijit Singh. He's so big right now. It's very hard to kind of get, even for Spotify, it's so hard to get a hold of him. Okay, last question. Most popular moment for music consumption on Spotify? Workout? Okay, yeah, keeping with Bangalore's fitness ethos, I can hear a lot of workout. I can hear party as well, but it is actually love, romance, heartbreak. So that's still, Dil Vil Pyar Vyar is still number 1 when it comes to moments in consumption and playlists as well. Okay, so like I said, I love my trivia, but moving on to more serious stuff. I'm just going to give you guys a broad overview of some examples of insights that led to product examples, features at Spotify. In India, we have 2 broad focus areas for us. There is engagement, of course, and there's monetization, right? These are the 2 big ones, and all the problem statements that we need to work on just kind of trickle down from these 2 broad themes. We kind of just spoke about moods and moments. One of the bedrock research projects that we've been looking at is the role of music in people's lives. How do we really understand how they interact with music? Why do they interact with a certain song? What do they feel when they interact with that? This is something that we've been deliberating about and going a lot deeper into in a much longer way and larger way over the last 1 year. What this has led us to kind of work on is, of course, playlists exist. This is something that we already kind of know, that people engage very strongly with mood-based playlists. This is something that they always kind of look for as well. There is romantic, there's moody. These are a few of the global examples. We have many more from an Indian perspective as well. But there are nuances over here as well. So, for example, you may be okay with discovery in terms of nuances between moments and moods. You may be okay with discovering new music on your way to work. You may be okay with ads on your way to work during your commute, but you won't be that okay with it during your workout. Or just kind of, those are the moments where you want a lot more immersive experience. So how do we really kind of build this ideal user experience for those moments which are a lot more leaned in versus the ones that are a little more leaned back? So besides playlists, that's where we're kind of iterating and just building on top of these things. Daylist is something that I don't know if you guys have kind of ever tried it for the Spotify users here. But Daylist came from this consumer insight that your mood is never the same during the day, but it's also not that straightforward. It's never really just tired or just kind of sad, right? It's a lot more complex than that. So this is a slightly wacky take on just solving for that problem statement. And we also did a slightly more straightforward features like a Diwali hub. This is something that we released last year, where we wanted to make it easier for people to consume kind of music during a large cultural moment like Diwali. These are a few ways that we've kind of looked at solving for this whole puzzle of moods and moments and the role of music over there. Now, besides this, one large theme for us at Spotify is social, right? So music listening is, by most recommendation engines, is looked at as an individual behavior. You're kind of solving for the individual's music listening recommendations, the playlist he sees, the next song that is being served to him. We're working very hard to actually even get a more social angle to that. But besides that, there are also features, kind of add-on features that we've been experimenting with and still iterating with, especially from an Indian market perspective. One is Jam. Jam is something that is about just listening together. How do you kind of facilitate real-time listening together with folk, with family, friends who are in different places? Another one is, and I won't spend too much time on this, another one is just bonding with friends. This was a really cool, fun project where you can see how much of a music match you are with other friends or family members of yours, and then kind of you get this like a percentage that shows you in terms of what the overlap could be. So these are a few ways in which we're trying to just tap a lot more into this social piece where we're just trying to get people to interact without really going the social media way. Cool, but so while I spoke about the role of music, moments, moods, I spoke about social, those activities are kind of right now geared a lot more towards driving engagement, which was that larger sub-theme. What about monetization? Like, how do you make the Indian consumer pay for music? Right? This is one of the most ad-tolerant markets in the world and the bane of my life right now. Yeah, but what we found was that fandom is actually a huge need where people may actually pay. You actually already see that from just the offline side of things. You see live experiences, you see merch, you see the need to really interact with the artist and people doing whatever they can to really kind of just meet their favorite star in terms of access to them. And we thought this was an interesting topic for us to really just go a little deeper into at Spotify over the last few years as well, over the last few months. We've done super heavy-duty research from all angles. We've looked at data, we've looked at user research, we've kind of sized it up using quant, so the works. We've spoken to people in the market as well. Globally, we have a bunch of products which are actually geared towards fandom, but from a localized perspective, the journey is just about beginning. So we know just a little more about fandom. We do know that Bollywood still has the biggest fan base. Film music, Tamil film music, regional film music, I mean, not just Tamil, of course, you have many other states where you have very, very strong film music fandom. But a lot of this, while it's kind of changing now, it used to be song first, right? It was never song or film or actor first. It was never really artist first. You do see that changing now, but it's still artists who are at a little bit of a pedestal in some way. You also see, of course, international music fandom. That's something that kind of was Spotify's segue into the country. Is very, very strong right now. Some of the K-pop and international pop music artists here, because of the lack of access to their artists, lack of access to their favorite artists, are kind of really, really yearning for that interaction in some way. And then, of course, you have Punjabi pop, Diljit on stage over there, who's doing a great job with just making Punjabi, along with everybody else, a lot more global. But what we discovered was that while you have Bollywood, you have kind of international pop, you have Punjabi pop, which is also a little more independent music-led, you have a flurry of other artists who have been kind of growing over the last few years. I think COVID was where it really kind of just got that push, like Anuv Jain, Arman Malik, Darshan Rawal, Junita Gandhi, a bunch of female and male artists who are a lot more independent, a lot more artist-centric, who are building their own fandom in India. And a lot of these fandom templates are actually a lot more global in nature because the users are actually getting their influences from international artists. So the way they want to interact with these Indian independent artists is also a very similar way, where they want to kind of get merch, they want to have like a language of identity around their fandom as well. So what did we do about it? This is something that, again, like I said, the journey is just starting. We have kind of just built, we're trying to kind of build an artist ecosystem on platform. The term play forward there is actually a play on play back, which is where the artist was never in the spotlight, but now we want to get them to the forefront and to the spotlight over here. So yeah, this is an on-platform way to do it, and then off-platform as well. I'm just going to play a video. Sorry, I didn't give you that interview.
फ्लो करूं बीट पे मैं कर गया नशे शॉर्टी लगी क्यूट खर्चे बड़े बॉम्बे में फैल रहा है लड़कों का क्रेज इतनी पगार नहीं उतने हैं केस फायदे के लिए मैंने साइड करा चेंज फायदे के लिए नहीं साइड करा चेंज 2:30 बजे रात की गाड़ी चले तेज माँ बोले रुक खाली कर जेब किया जब स्पेड करूं टेक ऑफ तोड़ता नहीं दिल मेरा ब्रेकअप लगे मुझे फेक तेरा मेकअप गैंग इन द हाउस तो तू बेकर ये रैपर लोग लगते हैं सॉफ्टी सड़क पे करता मैं मॉश पिट स्टूडियो को बना दे कॉकपिट फ्लैग शिट मैं कवर खोदता माइक की जरूरत नहीं तेरे लाइक की बचपन में बाल थे स्पाइक की बुक पे नहीं आया मैं चढ़ा के कवर स्पॉटिफाई के था कवर पे फोड़ो किल करना सीन को भाईलों पे छोड़ो
Sorry, I'm almost on time. I'm actually on time, so I'm going to go a little faster there. So that was actually Rap 91. That was Spotify IP, which we started building over the last 3 years in the hip-hop scene, because we realized that that's something that has huge fandom in India, something that can be kind of fueled in that terms. But now we have all these insights, we have all this data, we have all of this. How do we kind of really bring this together as a structure and as a framework? So the Spotify design team, actually this is something that you guys can go through. It's public data. This is a framework that helps teams ship with impact. Versions of this exist everywhere in all companies. This is just our version to kind of put it all together. I won't go into too much detail here. But yeah, you start from goal. You use data and insights, not just from user research, from everywhere. Problem, hypothesis, solution, and then learning. Again, not going to kind of rush through the slide, but there are lots of examples that exist. So all of this together, kind of really the strong focus on building this insights, multidisciplinary insights ecosystems, really brings in that focus, creative thinking, and helps us push the boundaries on music streaming in the audio space, music streaming and the audio space. From immersive audio experiences to the future of podcasting, there is so much left to come, and I really look forward to kind of building that with the users over here. And lastly, I'm going to bow down to peer pressure, so I do have one small AI video as well. This is a feature that we are just coming out with. Thank you, guys. That's a wrap. Couldn't resist.